I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who would gamble her marriage for another man. But here I am, admitting the darkest truth about myself. I gave my boss pieces of me I never gave my husband. And now Chris is divorcing me. Weiss. He's telling everyone exactly what I did. It didn't start as an affair. It started as something small, almost harmless. Chris and I had been married nearly 9 years. He was steady, reliable, the kind of man women say they want. But somewhere along the way, routine became our language. Wake up, go to work, eat dinner, watch TV, go to bed. Safe, predictable. I told myself that's what a lasting marriage was supposed to look like. Then there was Ethan, my boss. He wasn't like Chris. Ethan carried himself with confidence, magnetic energy, the kind that drew people in. When his attention fell on me, it felt electric. He noticed details, my hair, a dress, the way I spoke in meetings. Compliments that seemed casual, but they hit me hard because they were things Chris hadn't said in years. At first, I brushed it off. I told myself it was nothing, just harmless flattery. But Ethan was deliberate. He crossed lines slowly. A late meeting became dinner. A drink after work to unwind. A hand on my back that lingered too long. And I let it happen. I wanted to feel that spark again. With Chris, intimacy had turned into habit, something routine. With Ethan, it was reckless, intoxicating. He made me feel 20 again. I started dressing differently, hoping he'd notice. Saying yes to things I once swore I'd never do. I crossed boundaries without hesitation. Shame pricked at me sometimes, but the rush always won. So I lived 2 lives. At home, I was the loyal wife cooking dinner, pretending everything was fine. At work, I was bold, reckless, living in a fantasy where I was desired, wanted, alive. I thought I could keep both worlds apart. But lies don't stay hidden forever. Chris found out one evening. My phone was buzzing nonstop on the counter while I showered. Ethan's messages lit up the screen, explicit, undeniable. When I came out, Chris was waiting at the table, phone in his hand. The look in his eyes will haunt me forever. Not anger, not rage, just devastation, disbelief. Like the man he thought I was had just disappeared. His voice shook as he asked one question. Why him? Why would you do for him what you never did for me? I had no answer. The truth was too cruel. I wanted excitement, and I used Ethan to feel alive. That night broke everything. Chris moved into the guest room. Within weeks, he filed for divorce. Then came the humiliation. He told his family, our friends, even acquaintances. Not lies. Just the raw truth. Every detail spilled out. Whispers followed me everywhere. People looked at me like I was toxic. I became that woman, the wife who betrayed a good man for her boss. And Ethan, he vanished. At work, he was suddenly distant, cold, professional. The man who made me feel special had already moved on, untouched by the wreckage. I was left with nothing. Nights are the hardest. Lying alone, I hear Chris's question echo, why him? Why not me? And I hate myself, because there's no answer that makes sense. Chris gave me devotion, stability, loyalty. Ethan gave me ego and thrill. I traded my marriage for fantasy. Now, Chris doesn't even look at me with anger. Just emptiness. And that's worse, because you can fight anger. You can't fight indifference. He's done. Sometimes I ask myself what I thought I was chasing. Did I believe Ethan would love me the way Chris did? That a man who flirts with employees would be my forever? Or was I just running from the comfort of a good man who actually cared about me? The truth is bitter. I wasn't bold, or passionate, or brave. I was selfish. Instead of fighting for my marriage, I escaped into someone else's arms. And when it ended, I became disposable. Chris has moved on, working out, going out, even dating again. He's rebuilding. And I'm stuck in the ruins I created. Looking back, I see it clearly now. The routine I resented was actually stability. The predictability I hated was safety. The love I dismissed as boring was the kind of love people spend lifetimes searching for. I threw it away for cheap thrills that collapsed the moment they were exposed. Now, all I have is silence, humiliation, and one question haunting me forever: why him? Why not me?